Henry II at his peak, power, reform, and the Becket crisis. When Henry II rose to the throne in 1154, he inherited a battered kingdom fresh out of civil war. When he died 35 years later, he had built one of the most influential dynastic realms in medieval Europe. But between those 2 points lies a dramatic story of legal revolution, imperial ambition, political brilliance, and one of the most infamous friendships turned feuds in world history. This is the high reign of Henry II and the conflict with Thomas Becket that would define an era. England in 1154 was a mess. During the civil war known as the Anarchy, barons had constructed illegal castles, carved out private fiefdoms, and defied royal authority at every turn. Henry II was only 21 when crowned. He wasted no time. In a few short years, he demolished unauthorized castles, centralized royal courts, reasserted control over royal lands, restored the exeter system, and replaced corrupt sheriffs. It wasn't glamorous work, but it was transformative. Henry restructured a monarchy that had been brought to its knees, turning England into one of the most orderly and financially robust realms in Europe. Henry's energies didn't stop at England's shores. He spent the majority of his reign in France, traveling endlessly, by some estimates 3,000 miles a year, across the sprawling Angevin territories. His empire included England, Normandy, Anjou, Maine, Touraine, Aquitaine, Brittany, and parts of Ireland. It was a patchwork of legal systems, cultures, and loyalties, but under Henry's relentless administration, it worked most of the time. Henry's greatest strength was mobility. He appeared where trouble arose, punished rebels, negotiated alliances, and imposed order. His enemies joked he seemed to be in 3 places at once. Henry's lasting legacy isn't just his empire, it's his reshaping of England's legal system. His reforms included Aziz of Clarendon, established procedures for criminal justice, introduction of royal circuits, which are inherent judges who standardize law, expansion of jury use, which is the early forms of the grand jury, and stronger protection for property rights. These changes laid foundations for what would become English common law, one of the world's most influential legal systems. Ironically, it was Henry's push for legal clarity that helped spark the greatest conflict of his reign. Of all of Henry's political relationships, none began more promisingly or ended more catastrophically than his friendship with Thomas Becket. Becket started as Henry's friend, his trusted chancellor, his drinking companion, and his partner in hunting, war, and administration. Becket was ambitious, brilliant, and fiercely loyal. So when the Archbishop of Canterbury died in 1161, Henry saw a golden opportunity. If Becket were to be made Archbishop, royal influence over the church would be tremendous. Becket warned Henry, "You will soon hate me as much as you love me now." Henry didn't listen. Becket reluctantly accepted the position in 1162, and everything changed. Becket underwent a dramatic spiritual shift. Instead of acting as Henry's political agent, he became a zealous defender of church independence. He adopted an austere lifestyle, championed ecclesiastical privilege, defied royal authority on multiple fronts. Henry was furious. He had appointed a friend to strengthen royal control. Instead, he had created a champion of resistance. The conflict came to a head in 1164 when Henry issued the Constitution of Clarendon, a set of laws intended to bring clergy under the same judicial system as everyone else. Becket refused. Henry insisted. Becket fled. What followed was 6 years of exile, diplomatic maneuvering, and failed attempts at reconciliation. Henry pushed for royal supremacy. Becket defended the church's legal autonomy. It was a battle of wills and egos. In 1170, tensions finally eased. Becket returned to England after a fragile compromise, but peace didn't last. Becket immediately excommunicated several bishops aligned with Henry. When news reached the king, chroniclers recorded him shouting the fateful words, Will no one rid me of this troublesome priest? Whether it was a literal order or a frustrated outburst remains debated, but 4 knights heard it as a command. They rode to Canterbury. On December 29th, 1170, Thomas Becket was murdered inside Canterbury Cathedral. The brutality shocked all of Europe. Becket became a martyr almost instantly. Miracles were reported at his tomb. Pilgrims flocked to Canterbury. The church's moral authority soared while Henry's reputation collapsed. Realizing the political catastrophe, Henry underwent public penance. He was whipped by monks at Becket's tomb, a dramatic humiliation for a king of his stature. The conflict ended not with victory, but with an uneasy compromise. The church gained significant autonomy and Henry regained political stability, but at great personal cost. Even at the height of his power, trouble simmered beneath the surface of Henry's empire. The seeds of future rebellion were already sprouting. His marriage to Eleanor of Aquitaine was crumbling. His sons were ambitious and competitive. The King of France viewed the Angevin realm as a threat. Local nobles chafed under Henry's constant oversight, and yet, despite all this, the empire held together, largely because Henry held it together. But that would change in the next stage of our story. Why this era matters? Henry II's reign represents the zenith of the Angevin Empire. His administrative reforms, legal innovations, military presence, strategic marriages, and diplomatic skill all built a political machine unmatched in Western Europe. It was also a fragile machine. The Becket crisis exposed a weakness in Henry's authority and emboldened rivals, both foreign and domestic. The empire was strong, but the empire was vulnerable. And in the next chapter, Henry's greatest threat would come not from France or the church, from his own sons.